Yes, people, myself TS, welcome back to another No Filter TS. And in this one, just talking about Arsenal and, the summer. Um, and there is going to be somewhat of a, rebuild at Arsenal. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, especially when it comes from, the likes of the journalists associated with the club, which, some fans do feel that they basically just peddle the club's agenda to the fans and not really give their full opinions on things. But, just for myself, looking at things, I look at players who, probably would want to move on and, players come to the end of their deals. And, certain players that's on loan, etc. We definitely easily got about 10 players that will be leaving the club this summer. And, going off rough calculations based on, valuations of what they're valued at on transfer market, you know, there's a potential around 110 million for Arsenal to, to get in revenue from selling these players, which will be good. You think about the likes of Aubameyang, who's left on a free, cancelled his contract, Ozil the same, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Chambers. There's been a lot of players that we just had to more or less let go for next to nothing. And yeah, I think starting from the goalkeeping positions, the first one for me is definitely Alex Runnison. Was signed as a backup, was given some opportunities, looked absolutely dreadful, and he just looked like the £1 million goalkeeper that we signed, and his Arsenal career was done from that Carabao Cup match against City. It was absolutely dreadful. He's on loan this season, but we signed a backup goalkeeper anyways in January who will be joining in the summer, and Runnison's done. So, transfer market value at around £1 million. I think that is what we would probably get for him. Obviously, Bernd Leno, been number 2 to Ramsdale majority of the season. He's definitely a man that, capable of being a number 1 goalkeeper at most clubs. And yeah, I think he'll move on. Valued at around 15 million. I think that's a relatively fair valuation for him. And yeah, I could see him moving on also. You got Cedric, valued at around 4 million. I think that would be even get a 4-5 million for him. I think for certain clubs that would be a good signing for them. Just a team I like to talk about a lot sometimes. Crystal Palace. I think in terms of their right back situation, I see like things like Klein and Joel Ward. They to be fair, they're in their 30s as well, like Cedric. But I think Cedric, where he's been more fit and playing more football of recent, that's what a potential Premier League team he could end up at, and still do a relatively good job. I know there was reports recently linking him with both Porto and Newcastle, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Obviously, Bellerin went on loan to Betis. Another man whose Arsenal career is done, and he's one I expect to move on in the summer. Again, valued at around 15 mil. Pablo Mari, brought in under Arteta on loan at first and turned to a permanent deal. Got run over at the beginning of the season by Lukaku, and I went on loan in January, and he's a man that I expect to go in the summer. You're probably looking at around 5 million or so. That's what he's valued at. I personally feel you could probably get maybe a 7.5 million transfer fee for him, but transfer market is valued him at around 5 mil. And then you got Mavropanos, who when he first come in under the latter stages of Wenger, he looked like a really good defender. Under Emery, a couple of times he looked a bit shaky, and then he's been on a couple of loans, and yeah, I think 10 million would probably be about right. Young defender with prospect. And yeah, he can go on somewhere else and kind of make a bit more of a career for himself. And then going into midfield options, one of the guys I spoke about in the recent video, Mohamed Elneny, obviously he'll be leaving on the free unless we were to tie him down to a new deal. You got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who in the summer had to put out an Instagram post saying he just wants to go where he wants to play. Got given a couple of opportunities, played one specific game in the Prem, got man of the match, and we didn't see him since. Went on loan to Roma. Jose's not been too impressed with him, and he's been doing that bench warmer over there. So he's another man that I can definitely see leaving in the summer. Again, you're talking around maybe 10 mil there. I think it'd be down to his last year of his contract as well. Lucas Torreira, who, when he first come in, it was like, oh, Torreira, ooh, he comes from Uruguay. He's only 5 foot high. All of that stuff. And then after years, like, yeah, man's not really acclimatizing to playing in England. Obviously, Emery at the time had him playing as more or less a 10. I think that was more so to kind of high press and win the ball higher up the field. But yeah, he didn't really adapt to life in England. He's gone on loan, been at Fiorentina, and he's valued at around 15 mil. And I think that'd be fair any team in like Italy as such. I think 15 mil is quite a bargain for Lucas Torreira, in my opinion. And then going into like the attacking positions, you've got like Reece Nelson. Again, the manager at Feyenoord, expected a lot more from him, and he's another man. But according to transfer market, come the summer, will be down to 1 year left in his deal. I think 10 million would be a decent fee for him. Whether he's to go to another club abroad or he manages to find a team somewhere, I don't know, in the Prem, maybe one of the teams lower down in the Prem, or a team that's just been relegated, like a Norwich, or he could end up at a Watford or something. Who knows? But I personally think his days at Arsenal seem to be numbered. That's for sure. And then Pepe, who I did a video the other day stating that he's likely to leave in the summer. Hasn't started a Premier League game since October. It's now May, basically 6 months. His career's done with Arsenal. Being linked with moves away for around 25 million. And yeah, for me personally, I just want to see Pepe go on and play. He's not getting the game time here. Even if we get top four, there's no guarantee that he's going to play a lot of the Champions League games anyway. So he might as well call it a day as well. And then the two strikers, Lacazette and Nketiah, obviously contracts coming to an end at the end of June. Both due set to leave on a free unless new contracts are put in place. I think the new contract more probably applies to Nketiah than it does Lacazette. Like I've said in the previous video, I think Arteta might actually be done with Lacazette, following these Champions League comments, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think following all that, obviously there is, a lot of players, there'll be a list of players that need to come in to the squad to, subsidise for some of the losses. The players that are going to be heading out, following the recent fan forum, Josh Kroenke was talking about, and Vinay, they were talking about how, Edu and Arteta, they have their plan set up for the summer already. So hopefully that's the case, and, when the transfer window opens, we're not wasting time. So, based on that, there's definitely going to be a lot of, transfer business, especially outwards, going on in the summer. Hopefully we're able to identify more players of quality in that window to bring into the club for the 2022-23 season, which is going to help us push on further and to challenge more in the league. Again, depending on what European competition we're in, go as far into that as well. And then also domestically, we got to go and try and win an FA Cup and as well a Carabao Cup next season. You're in these competitions, the main aim of sports to win it. And yeah, it's like the lottery, you've got to be in it to win it, but you've got to be proper on your job to win these tournaments. Otherwise, you end up having not so great season. So yeah, that's my thoughts on everything. Let me know your thoughts on the whole, summer rebuild. Obviously, in this one, I've just more spoken about, players heading out of the club. I will be doing a video talking about, players coming into the club, what sort of positions potentially we could be looking at. More so talking about players linked to the club and roughly how much that sort of the incomings could cost the club, but again balancing it off of the amount of the rough estimates of what the players I've listed here. 110 million if we go out there and spend 200 million this summer. We've already spent 90 million if we clear out these players for this sort of amount. So, we'll see. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this all in the comment section below. And if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button now. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.